I hope you got your shitting pants on.
Because you are about to shit your pants.
All right, everybody, welcome to The Big Picture on All Western New York News and Radio, or maybe it's just All Western New York now. I don't know. I haven't been paying attention. Been too busy. Anyway, so what's up, Western New York? Glad you're here. Glad you're listening, if anybody's even listening. But let's get right into it here, okay? This is The Big Picture, and I am the asshole that hosts it. I am Michael Sargent, okay? We're going to kind of talk a little bit about what this podcast is supposed to be about, you know, big picture, camera. All right, that's pretty easy to figure out, but I've talked about, you know, a lot of different things, you know, including politics, which has basically just beat me down, you know, trying to deal with the liberal mindset. It's like, whoa, I don't know what these people are smoking, but it's not good. I still maintain, you know, the whole liberal thing, you know, and every time I get into a conversation with them, I've got to run for my life because it makes me crazy. And actually, it's like I'm running to save their lives. But essentially, in the end, it saves my life.
I'm running for my life.
All right, so let me tell you what's up here, brother. We got a lot, well, not really a lot, but a few things that we're going to talk about today. And, of course, they're photography related. You know, it's kind of an amazing world, you know, that when you really look at the industry the way that I do and things that go on, it's insane. So, all right, I said last week that, you know, I had a couple of really big jobs that just kind of not really fell into my lap, but my work was noticed, and I was asked to take on a kind of like a fashion shoot. But the fashion shoot needed to be shot in a downtown Buffalo area, you know, which is close to me. I could have done it in Niagara Falls or Rochester or anywhere, but we put the word out on Facebook that we needed some models, and we got models. So we went to downtown Buffalo, and we set everything all up, and, you know, hair, makeup, you know, this was the big deal. I brought, you know, some battery-powered strobes that I have, and, you know, we did a lot of inside shots. The deal with these things where they wanted them kind of gritty, you know, urban-y, and, you know, what I like to call warm crunchy, and that's exactly what they got. So the entire shoot took us several hours to do, and I submitted the work way ahead of schedule, like, you know, any good photographer / editor would do. They want to get their work in and get the review, see if anything needs to be changed or anything different. Because, like I said, I'm not a big Photoshop guy. I have my editing softwares, and when I say softwares, I have several programs that I edit with. Some of the things can do Photoshop type things, but I don't have Photoshop. I don't use Photoshop. Largely in part because I just don't want to sit there and take the time to learn how to use it when there's so many other things that I can do in other software programs that are so much easier in relationship to the Photoshop process. So, anyway, that's all. Besides the point, all I can really say is that the shoot went amazing, and the people that were working with me, they they know it's not that I'm difficult. It's just that I know what I'm going for, and honestly, I'm demanding. When it comes to doing this type of work, I know what the client expectation is, and I'm going to make sure that they get exactly what they want. And so far, based on the images that I submitted, people seem to be extremely happy with them. I've actually heard I've been given another contract for another job to do another shoot next month. And we took it. This time it's going to be professional models. We're going to continue to roll with this entire project. But in photography news, okay, the big thing here last week was the blood moon, okay, and there were several digital camera sites that had put out information about how to photograph it and so on and so forth. And I mean, something I'm very skilled at doing is shooting night photography. I kind of cut my teeth on that years ago, and I continue to do so, largely in part because it's just a lot of fucking fun. It's amazing, really. But kind of the big news here is Nikon is about to launch a full-frame mirrorless camera in August, okay, which... All right, I don't have a mirrorless. I don't shoot with a mirrorless, but I'm told that, this Nikon camera, there's a lot of facts, there's a lot of rumors. I guess what a lot of this comes down to is, around August 23rd, 2018, they are going to, announce this camera, release it, and, they're not really giving any solid information, so you can kind of expect it to be like a decision, like LeBron James' decision back in the day. Most of you all know what that's about. And on the side note, look, I've talked about this in the past. All right, LeBron James is not Michael Jordan, people. And I know this generation, they all think LeBron is so wonderful and such a great basketball player. But I've sat there and recently, and during my free time, I literally would sit there and watch YouTube videos, game highlights of LeBron, and I also watched them of Jordan. And the only thing I can really say is, LeBron, he's not Mike. And Mike, whoa, that guy, what a monster. And then I got while I was watching these videos, I watched his Hall of Fame acceptance speech. And, it was typical Michael Jordan. He had something to say, and he said it. It was pretty well received. And, he told stories about himself and the people that he played with and against. It got me thinking, when you go back and you look at the imagery, all the photographs that were taken of Michael Jordan and some of the amazing things that he did on the basketball court, I just don't know how anybody in this day and age could say that LeBron James even compares to Michael Jordan. Michael is the GOAT. Okay? That's all I got to say. Now back to Nikon's brand new full-frame mirrorless camera. What they're talking about, all right, they've got a couple of videos out there, and what the videos focus on is light and its role in creating images. Same thing I've been saying for years. Countless rays of light come together, forming an image at the end of their long journey. Nikon's ongoing mission heading into the future to guide light into forming superb pictures. Which, is a pretty cool statement, really. They're saying that, rumors has it that the camera sensor is probably an upgrade or is somewhat related to the one inside the D850. But it's highly unlikely that it's going to be the same chip. So, it's also rumored that it's going to be a 45 megapixel sensor. That's going to match the chip inside the 850. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. But anyway, enough about, one last thing I should say. The Nikon mirrorless camera, supposedly it's going to have a new lens mount. So you know what that means. Some of the lenses, there's some type of an adapter out there. Some of the lenses that Nikon owners may currently have won't fit this camera. Unless, of course, they get an adapter or there's an adapter made. So, let me get back to, the talk about, this blood moon. Okay? Because that was pretty cool. I don't know how many people actually saw it, but the blood moon, it's basically an eclipse. And there's a lot of instructions on how to photograph the total lunar eclipse. And for the record, it took place on July 27, 2018. Now, if you're interested in seeing, my composition of the blood moon, because I did something completely different than probably most people did. I was on a beach, okay, and the water was flowing up into the beach, and I was right down fairly low, just had the camera, a foot off the ground, and I was letting the moon kind of set, and I'm going to be honest with you, because I wanted the moon to stand out in the photograph. I took 2 frames, one of the moon, which I zoomed up on, and then one, a slow exposure of the beach. They were both slow exposures, but I needed to get the detail in the moon to actually, show up in the photograph. And what I, ended up doing, everything is all pretty much where it's supposed to be, other than the fact that what I did is after I composed my 2 images, I blended them. I put them together. So, and believe me, it's not unheard of for photographers to do this, especially when they're trying to make an impactful photograph. Now, for whatever reason, I've been in this, kind of, I don't want to say dark phase, but I've been kind of like shooting, images that would be considered underexposed, in a sense. And I'm doing it on purpose just because I think that there's a beauty in the darkness of the photograph. So, if you want to see that, you can go to my Facebook page, Michael Sargent Photography, and, kind of scroll through it and you can see it. And you know what? Give that page a like. It's pretty clean on there. Except for Laura Nip, who, when I asked why, if anybody could guess why the blood moon was my favorite moon, and she said it was because I was damn creepy. Well, I didn't know I was creepy. But then again, maybe I am. Opinions vary, and who cares at this point? Laura, that wasn't a very nice thing for you to say, and believe me, the comments afterwards kind of cracked me up too. But let me tell you something, brother.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
I just do not simply have time for all the rhetoric, regarding, you picking at me, okay? I don't have time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
So anyway, all I can really tell you, at this particular point in time, you kind of put a smile on my face with all that, and I, thank you for that. Well, that's what at least I'm saying publicly, okay? I could say a little bit more, but I'm not. And I guess all I can really tell you is, Laura, if I wanted to hear what you had to say,
Hey, if we want to hear you talk, I will shove my arm up your ass and work your mouth like a puppet. You hear me? You hear me?
because really, I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
So, I had to throw it in there, and there is my here you go moment for the week.
And here we go.
All right, so moving forward and onward and upward and all that other bullshit. We've got some pretty exciting things, happening, okay, with my photography and stuff that I'm doing. I'm like blasted right now with seeing your pictures, and I'm kind of surprised. It just like bam, all of a sudden, you get all these phone calls and people are trying to book you, get you to do this, and I'm down with it. I'm working on it. We're going to have one busy August, very busy August, and that's a good thing from my perspective. I'm getting to do some things that I really like, and we're experimenting. I bought some pretty cool fabric the other day, and I'm gonna be doing some photos with that this weekend. Let's see, what else can I talk to you about with the photography industry this week. Let me ask you this: how many people out there have heard of UPick? Okay. The reason why I'm asking is because there's on my Instagram account there's some people from UPick that started following me, and years ago I think I used to post some photos there, and for whatever reason those photos get seen and then they're brought to the forefront, and it's interesting to say the least. But I've been asked to kind of rejoin that thing, and I took a look at stuff, and what happens is, like right now, I get an email from UPick, with a subject line, last chance to book these clients. So, but that's with their premium package, and I am not about joining UPick, on that premium level. I think it's, I have enough going on. It's kind of a waste of my time. Well, I shouldn't say waste of the time. I'm making it sound like it's a terrible thing. It's really not. It's really not. It's just kind of, my thing. I don't have time for it. Yeah, I'm digging here for some news for you guys, just to give you a little bit more information. So talk to me about Amazon Prime. How many people scored big on Prime Day? I know I received a lot of emails for certain camera bodies that I'd like to play around with, but I didn't purchase any of them. They did have a I don't even know if I would call it a great deal, but several Sony A7 2s and 3s, were popping up, in my news feed for things with Amazon, and I kind of like, it's always nice, but when you have your niche, things that you like to do and equipment that you like to use, you just don't, you really don't want to invest the time in learning something that, you may not need right now. Now, here's an interesting little piece of information. There's a story, and it's basically put up on ProPhoto USA, but it's called The Light Albert Watson Shapes, okay? And it's really the story behind the image of Alfred Hitchcock. So, basically, it's a video that you can watch, and I wish I could, put up a link here where you could actually see it. But, it's part of the Profoto newsletter. But it basically talks about when Harper's Bazaar called and asked Albert to photograph Alfred Hitchcock back in 1973, this guy jumped on the opportunity. And if you get the chance to do a shot like that, then you should rise to the occasion and try to do it the best you can. That's Albert Watson's take, and I can't agree with the guy more. I mean, you get an opportunity to photograph somebody, a celebrity, you really got to nail that shit. And that's part of my issue with photographers today. I don't think they take it seriously, or they don't interact with their clients, the way that they should. I mean, boy, if Hitchcock was alive and I had that opportunity, holy shit, I would, just rock that old man. It sounds crazy, doesn't it? But he looked at it as this is the most important shot he ever did, because it was a huge confidence builder. Okay. And it also, kind of gave the story about the turning point in his career. This guy's pretty famous. Okay. You can check out, Albert Watson, at albertwatson.net. He's really, he's photographed a lot of people, a lot of famous people. And most of them you probably even, know. I mean, I know he did, I believe it was Steve Jobs, Kate Moss. He did a lot of shaping photography. And that's always real cool with, lighting. It's very cool with lighting. So, it's like I said, right now I'm getting an opportunity to do some things that I haven't done in years. And rest assured, I'm taking full advantage of those opportunities. It's funny. It's funny how the photography world goes. But anyway, let me kind of break this down. I'm kind of blown away by some of the stuff I see, and it's amazing to me, because there's some things that I see over and over and over again, and I'm looking at photos right now, and it's like this is kind of like a mixed client, has gone to me, gone to another photographer, gone to me, gone to another photographer, and I'm looking at the images that were produced, and some of them are really cute, some of them are adorable, but they're not what I thought they would be. Little sad, because I think I really could have done something much better. Anyway, no biggie. Okay, let's talk about Spectrum. Everybody knows what Spectrum is in this area. Cable TV provider. I believe it was Charter Communications, Time Warner Cable merged, and now known as Spectrum. Well, there's a lot of news going around about something in New York where they haven't done what they were supposed to do, and by the looks of things, they're gonna, New York. There's talk about throwing them out, throwing them right out. So that's going to be interesting, because we rely on the internet so heavily around here, and especially me, being a photographer. I upload images to my website, for my clients, and they go to download. So I'm a little unsettled with this. Also on my web, my Facebook page, I also released a photo, that I just called Reasons. And it was kind of a dramatic shot. I had a nice sun flare in the background, especially using a neutral density filter. And it's funny because real deep blue sky, with the ND filter, the cloud, the sun, that was just, starting to, basically set. You had those sun rays blasting through the clouds. It was incredible to actually look at it. But the center of the photograph, there is a single flower, a queen, well, it depends on your perspective. It may be a weed, but it's Queen Anne's lace. And that was the center, the focal point of the actual photograph. And there was a lot of people that actually they liked it. They thought it was pretty cool. I looked at it originally and I thought, it has nothing special. But apparently, my thought process was wrong on that. There was a lot of people that actually did like it. So, but the one that I'm proud of was this blood moon photo. The way that, I composed it and the way that I did it. I thought it was a very interesting image, from my perspective and what I, am trying to accomplish as a photographer. It just worked. It just worked for me. So the only thing that really kind of torqued me off about the entire photograph was I had a rock that was kind of sticking up, just off the edge of the beach there. And the rock didn't come out real clear, in the photograph. You can just barely see it in the background. But with the waves coming in and out, it left a motion blur of waves, on the shore. But, that moon was kind of coming down and it just looked cooler than shit. So, all about angles and perspectives, and I shot it at the angle and perspective I thought it was going to be pretty cool. But if you are interested in that, you're going to have to go to facebook.com, Michael Sargent Photography. And it'll be one of the first photos, that you see there, because that's the most recent thing that I have done. So anyway, we're about, out of time for this week. We are currently at like 27 minutes of programming, and I only have 30, which is probably a blessing in disguise because I don't have a hell of a lot of time. But anyway, I'm going to sign off. I want to thank everybody who's listening to the program. If you are listening to the program, shoot us an email, okay? I would really respect an email, with your comments and your feedback about the show. If you have ideas or things that you'd like me to talk about, regarding photography, shoot Scott Leffler an email. He'll get the word to me one way or another. He always does, whether it's on Twitter, Facebook, Google, Allo, whatever. He always shoots me a message and lets me know this, that, or the other thing. And I will say this, too. I'm trying to take the show in a different direction because I just don't want to be rant about politics anymore. I'm sick of politics. Everybody knows that. So I'm going to keep the format more towards photography and beating up on, the people that beat up on me on Facebook, which, is always fun. But anyway, I'm signing off. Y'all take care. Thanks for listening. You have something you want to know about or talk about, shoot Scott Leffler an email at allwesternnewyorknews.com. Go to the website, find a link, shoot it off, and just remember, people, we will be taking sponsors for this program. All right? If you'd like to sponsor the Big Picture, give Scott Leffler a call. All right? I'm out of here. Peace.